Compassion versus empathy. Is there a difference? In this video, I will focus on these two and how to use them best, especially in the light of all the tragic news with which we are bombarded every moment of the day. Let's think about life before internet and media. Life for people was happening in small communities, and the number of grievances witnessed throughout life were limited. Maybe a few passing away of relatives and friends, maybe a fire or a few floods, maybe an accident or few that were witnessed. Exception would be foreign invasions and ruthless wars, of course. For each, there was a time when everyone was grieving collectively, and those most affected were held and could share the burden. Then there would be a ritual of closure and a process of recovery with a return to normal life with all its joys and challenges of manageable capacity. And this is something every human is capable of without falling into anxious overwhelm. Shift now to the global context in which we live today. We can easily hear of things happening all over the globe. Not only that, we have a tragedy on repeat, so that every hour we see and hear the same grim news and scary stories. And because the media thrive on creating this fear and shock in people, something that becomes addictive, they use these tactics in abundance. Perhaps the most cynical and sad aspect of it is that somebody is benefiting from it. And we never quite hear the follow-up or how it all ended. But a human psyche is an amazing thing, and it can only take so much before it becomes affected. So it employs a number of strategies such as shutdown, dissociations, distractions, depression, or focus shifting to maintain its equilibrium. Isn't it ironic that the same media outlets would provide the distractions as well to help dissociate and numb, such as movies and all kinds of entertainment, as if to take full advantage of the human being chained to the screen. The Social Dilemma documentary, by the way, shows that very well. So you've heard the terms empathy and compassion. Do you know if there is a difference between them? It turns out there is. And what is dubbed as compassion fatigue, especially in the therapy circles, it's really empathy distress. Here I want to clarify the differences and also share some effective tools that can help you better deal with tragic news and events. Let's start with empathy. Empathy became popularized in the media in the recent years, often in relation to raising awareness about bullying and cruelty to others. I never heard this term growing up. Pity or mercy would be the closest thing to describe the capacity to feel with others, and this is precisely what empathy is. Tanya Singer, who is a social neuroscience researcher at Max Planck Institute of Human Cognitive and Brain Sciences in Germany, conducted a number of studies on empathy and compassion. She says, empathy makes it possible to resonate with others' positive or negative feelings alike. We can thus feel happy when we vicariously share the joy of others, and we can share the experience of suffering when we empathize with someone in pain. So with empathy, this is how we are able to engage socially with others, make friends, cry at movies, manage relationships with parents, and connect with people. Too much of this, though, can be detrimental. Singer states further, while empathy refers to our general capacity to resonate with other people's feelings, positive and negative alike, empathic distress refers to a strong, aversive, and self-oriented response to the suffering of others, accompanied by the desire to withdraw from a situation in order to protect oneself from excessive negative feelings. Most interestingly, brain imaging shows that empathy towards the pain of others or the knowledge that a loved one experiences pain activates the same brain areas which light up when one experiences pain firsthand. Isn't that amazing? So, if I'm not able to distinguish between my loss and your loss, then I'm moving into empathic distress. What does this do to our brain? Repeated episodes of empathic distress lead to chronic depletion of dopamine, and that leads to burnout, characterized by emotional exhaustion, withdrawal, depersonalization in response to the suffering of others. By contrast, compassion is characterized by feelings of warmth, concern, and care for others, as well as a strong motivation to improve the other's well being. Unlike empathy, compassion activates the brain areas, and warning, some smart wording is coming through. The brain areas involved in dopaminergic reward and oxytocin affiliative processes and enhances positive emotions in response to adverse situations. This is a critical property that differentiates compassion. Because compassion generates positive emotions, it counteracts the negative effects of empathy elicited by experiencing other suffering. So instead of dopamine depletion in the brain, compassion helps release oxytocin and vasopressin. These are two chemicals involved in attachment and bonding. So by consequence, it is associated with approach and pro-social behavior. So in order to prevent an excessive sharing of suffering that might turn into distress, one can choose to respond to the suffering of others with compassion, feeling for rather than feeling with others. Compassion is a quality at the core of our being. We can talk about what Carl Jung refers to as collective consciousness, with compassion being an aspect of it. But it's even greater than that. It's part of the divine essence of God and love. It's life-giving. Because of the way it works, compassion cannot become fatigued or overwhelmed. It is a limitless resource, and it has a healing effect through its willingness to stay connected. It also can be learned. Here is what a hierarchy model of empathy and compassion would look like. Empathy comes first, and it allows us to connect to the others, to feel with, to know what it might be like for them. From there, we can move either into compassion, leading to empathetic concern for, or stay in the same empathy, which leads to empathetic distress with. So feeling empathy is a first step in building connection and understanding of others. For example, someone experiences a loss. Part of you is able to relate to that person's grief and loss. You feel with them, and you might even cry with them. But it's important to know that the emotion you resonate with, it's not yours. It is the emotion of the other person. After empathy establishes the connection with that person, the second step can be either towards empathic distress or towards compassion and empathic concern, leading to different responses in your body and feelings. Compassion essentially says, I see you, I feel you, I hear you. I will not try to avoid you. I will not seek to change nor deny what you're going through, because this is true to you now. In your experience, I will be there for you, so you know you're not alone. Is there something I can do? Compassion does not fatigue. It is neurologically rejuvenating. Would you like to learn to tap into it? Email me and I will send you a link to a video where I walk you step by step through this process. Meanwhile, here are some tips to help you avoid falling into empathic distress. A wise aspect of being able to stay compassionate is to take care of yourself by withdrawing and giving your empathy a break. Even Jesus, faced with all the suffering and adversity and hostility, and being the epitome of compassion, would withdraw for time alone, meditation, and prayer in the presence of someone greater, as if to replenish his soul. Second, tap into the restorative power of awe, the nature around. Things that bring us a sense of wonder, a sunset, a beautiful scenery, a piece of music, some time spent with a child and seeing the world through their eyes, a piece of art. These are vital for our souls. And tip 3, talk to someone about it, about how you feel. And remember, prayer is also a form of talking to someone. And that's how you do it, as my 3-year-old would say. In conclusion, remember, compassion does not fatigue. It is neurologically rejuvenating, and you have both science and the ancient practices on your side on this. Take care, and if you find this useful, please share and subscribe for more.